The following may contain language that is not suitable for all audiences. It's time for the Low Fact Podcast.
Woohoo.
Wow, I don't believe you hit that thing so hard like that.
It just keeps on resonating, bro.
Anyway.
Like life.
What do you mean like life? What's that supposed to mean?
It means nothing. I was trying to say something cool and it didn't really work out.
Maybe you should stop trying to sound cool.
Whatever.
No, really.
It's not going to happen, bro.
Yeah. Well, not much has been going on that I want to talk about because it's really the same old crap.
You say that every week. You sound like a broken record.
Well, it's because the talking heads are broken records. I mean, basically the battle lines have been drawn, and it seems like on the I don't even know what to call the right one.
Is it really a battle though? Or is it like a virtual battle?
It's kabuki.
Aha!
It's theatrical battle for our benefit.
Right.
Reminds me of a line from one of the movies I really like.
Okay.
We are the old guard, the Kabuki Theatre of soldiers. We have bayonets, we have rifles that will not shoot, and bayonets that will not stick.
The hell's that from?
Oh, it's a very obscure movie.
Is that a Kentucky Fried Movie?
No.
Oh.
That's a comedy. And it's not as obscure as well, maybe it is.
So if you want to ping us on on social media or an answer, if you know the movie, please let us know.
Oh, and
I have no clue what the movie is.
That quote was butchered. It's not even an exact quote. So if anyone can figure that out, I'm impressed. No, because right, I've been watching Tucker Carlson just for giggles.
I can't do it
because I also listen to a lot of NPR and get the headlines.
I don't know how you do that either.
It helps me. Well, I listen to it when I'm on snooze.
Doesn't it make you angry?
Well, it does, but I'm trying to get my anger inoculations. I really believe
everyone else is getting the COVID inoculations. You're getting your anger inoculation.
Well, it's like a stress inoculation, but I really believe that the powers that be really find some kind of benefit to us being angry. I don't know what it is.
I wonder if it's pretty simple.
It could just be about making money. But, there are
that just seems like if that's what it is, then that's pretty, I don't know. What does it say about people?
It says whatever you want to say.
It says we're pretty fucking lowly.
Well, who says we're not?
A lot of people.
Okay. But, yeah, I mean, because on that side, on the quote unquote corporate media, whatever that's supposed to be, it's all about scaring everybody about coronavirus. And I'm not one of those people that think it's a fake disease. I'm not one of those people that are anti-vax. I'm just pointing out that the people that are saying it's all politicized, the corporate media talking about how it's all politicized, how these anti-vaxxing Trump supporters are not getting their inoculations because of political reasons.
Oh, by the way, and they try to blame every outbreak on those people too. They say, "Oh, it's because of those people."
But I don't see how you can politicize something and then get mad at your targets saying that they're being political. It's almost like the way the system gets you. They want corruptible and corrupted people to be in the system. And I'm talking about like the government systems and the big money systems and all that. And
they don't want the...
And then when you get taken down for corruption.
Yeah, that's messed up. I mean, if that's what goes on, then it's messed up.
It just seems very much like the Serpico effect, or what I call the Serpico effect.
Isn't that a movie?
It is a movie, but basically, the thieves don't want you in to be with the thieves unless you're a thief.
Oh, he was an honest cop, right?
I think the story is, because I never saw the movie, but basically he was basically an honest cop at a time when the NYPD was pretty corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he got shot
Yeah,
in the
I
head.
think he does.
No, he didn't die.
Oh, he didn't die?
He got shot in the head, but he lived.
I vaguely remember seeing that movie many years ago. That's what's his face, right?
Al Pacino, yeah. But yeah, it's just kind of weird, in that people try to manipulate the people in power, the powers that be, try to manipulate us, and then they get mad when they're like, it's almost like you can't handle the truth type thing, So are people that dumb? And I believe that people are. A person is not, but people are. It seems like every time you add a person to a group, like the collective intelligence, the collective reasoning power of that group gets halved.
Well, they attack anybody that questions them. That's like the tactic, right?
And that's that kind of noise should make you suspicious.
And if you get a following or whatever, and you get kind of they think you're getting too big for your britches, then they try and take you down.
I kind of submit that maybe there's really nobody that's actually. I think it might all be rigged.
What do you mean?
Controlled opposition, as the term is very. There's a group that really likes that phrase.
Controlled opposition. I'm not really familiar with that.
Well, if I have control of the system,
mm-hmm.
and I want to make sure to engage everybody, knowing full well that everyone's not going to follow my party line, and that they're going to be contrary folks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shouldn't I control those contrary folks too? So if I control the quote-unquote leadership of the contrary folks, then
it really is all Kabuki Theatre. It's the WWF.
I'm thinking it's kind of like that.
Well, then we're screwed.
Well, why? Why are we screwed?
Because those people are gonna. It's like you always say, if you get rid of those folks, right? Then there's just going to be a new cadre of other folks that come in and do the same thing.
Yeah.
Eventually.
But that's kind of the way that it's been going throughout time, though. Nothing new comes out under the sun. It's just the identity of the players.
Then I'm like, what's the fucking point then?
Is there a point? Does there have to be one?
Well, it would be nice for there to be some honest people.
Well, there are honest people.
Yeah, but they're not in charge.
Well, they might have started out.
They started out honest and then they got corrupted. Like that movie you like so much.
Like Huey Long?
No. Chinatown.
Oh, yeah, the corruptor?
Yeah. Because basically Mark Wahlberg does get corrupted, right?
No.
Oh, he doesn't?
It's Chow Yun-fat that got corrupted.
Does Chow Yun-fat die in that movie?
He does.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
I like his story as well.
I think he never got past the 8th grade or something.
He just seems like a cool dude.
But so yeah, and so on the opposing side, well, on the corporate side, what is it? It's white supremacy, coronavirus, and now the
Well,
military.
What about Russian collusion?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of. I always thought it was kind of funny that when Mitt Romney was saying Russia is a big threat, Barack Obama's response was, "Hey, the '80s called. They want their foreign policy back." And now it's all about. Now his party's all about that, and I was like, "Well, what happened? Do they want their foreign policy back?"
I wonder what's happening with Russia.
I would almost rather not know.
Why? Because it's scary?
Well, no, because there are certain things.
But you like Russians in general, right? The people?
I like people in general.
Right.
You know, it's the funny thing. I like all the cultures in general. And people are pretty much the same wherever you go. And, you know, individually, people are great. You know, there are people that are willing to help out. There are people that are decent. There are people that are hardworking. And, you know, that's what gets used against you. You know, there are people that want to take care of their family. Who doesn't want to take care of their family? And, you know, they're willing to do some pretty dastardly things.
To take care of the family.
Well, to keep their position. You know, it's real popular to dislike police officers.
Right.
You know, the whole all cops are bastards type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
which can't be true.
What is it? All bastards are bastards. Some of them just happen to be cops, or soldiers, or politicians, or teachers, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you know, they're wanting to keep their jobs. They're wanting to be able to keep their houses, their homes, their cars, their family, whatever. And, you know, will certain ones unquestioningly do things? Of course. You know, that's what's the funny thing. Like, when you sign up as a student of history, right? As a soldier, you're supposed to obey all lawful orders and not commit war crimes and junk like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like whether or not something is a war crime, really depends on whether or not you win that war.
That's true. You don't hear about the war crimes of the Allies.
I'm sure there were plenty.
Yep.
You know, I mean, look at the leadership of Japan. It pretty much a lot of them got executed, but they didn't execute the emperor because you need somebody for the Japanese people to rally around, and if you kill the symbol, then you got to start from square one.
Yeah.
You know, look at the Nazis post World War II, right?
I don't know much about other than the Reconstruction and the fact that the United States was there. I don't know much about it.
Well, pretty much everyone who could be joined the party. And then when they lost, a handful of folks were punished. But, you know, the rest kind of stayed to administer the state. I mean, think of the Khmer Rouge. I think the people the people that were responsible for the killing fields in Cambodia,
their families still.
They are still around. Actually, in fact, I think they're probably still. They're probably in the government now. Same thing happened with East Germany, right? When East Germany fell, quote unquote fell, and you know East Germany was reunified with West Germany. I'm pretty sure a lot of the people that were in politics, that were in government, when it was communist East Germany, were still in power, still working, still administering stuff when it was part of a unified Germany.
So the moral of the story is be a bureaucrat?
I don't know if there's a moral there. I mean, I'm just saying.
Seems like the bureaucrats are just hang around and hang around and hang around.
Well, yeah.
But they're leeches.
Why? Why are they leeches? They're looking out for themselves. It happens to be at someone else's expense.
At a lot of people's expense.
And you can't. I don't know. It's a tough call. I don't think that anybody else in those positions would choose a different path.
What do you mean?
Well, let's say, for example, I mean, I could badmouth, or I can sit there and not badmouth, but I can sit here and point out all the inconsistencies or the bad acts of someone else. But if I look at my life and there were chances where I could, figuratively throw someone under the bus for something, or try to, I have, to save my butt.
Right.
Or to get the heat off of me. So, yeah. Okay, so...
It's weird, I can't see you doing that.
Well, it's usually been for minor stuff.
But I can't see you doing that unless it was like... somebody that, it was like a tit for tat type scenario.
Hey, yeah.
Like, you're not going to throw somebody under the bus who's like a freaking innocent bystander, right?
Well, it kind of depends, wouldn't it?
What?
I'm just saying it kind of depends.
Yeah.
We can all try to live by an ideal, but we're not, I think a lot of the time, we're not going to be successful at living up to that ideal. I mean, that's why Saul Alinsky said, make your opponent live by the letter of their laws.
By the way, I don't know, because I'd never heard of that book, and then I read it. And then every conservative is talking about that book now. Have you noticed?
No.
They're all talking about it. They were talking about the playbook and how we need to use the Saul Alinsky playbook against those that are using it, and basically play by the same rules.
Well, there is some satisfaction in tit for tat in doing that. I'm conflating two things, tit for tat and their playbook. But one thing that I've kind of noticed is a lot of what's going on, especially in our country, is really the result of I call it an inferior philosophy. And the reason why I say it's inferior is because it really can't stand up on its own. I mean, so, you referred to certain people as leeches. Mm-hmm. Or certain folks, certain groups, certain...
Yeah, they're
whatever.
Sucking on the...
Right, so...
The government teat or whatever.
Those, in order to adhere to that kind of philosophy or lifestyle, you need a host. You need another person.
Yes. Yeah, if the host's dead, then, you're going to die too.
So, for the longest time, it seems like in our country, there was the people trying to live up to a certain philosophy that I believe is a good philosophy. And knowing that we can't live up to it all the time is irrelevant. Just because you can't do something doesn't mean you don't try. Now, that's a very idealistic way of living, because practically...
You're going to fail?
Well, no, practically, why bother doing something if you can't do it?
Right.
Why bother trying to do something if you can't do it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Why play a game if you can't win? Why go to war if you can't win?
Yeah.
And I find it funny that a lot of people trying to get certain segments of the population riled up, especially with the military, because, what is it? What is it that a lot of the folks, well, especially on the Fox channel, have been saying? It's like, the American military hasn't really won a war on its own since World War II. Mm-hmm. And, well, we didn't win that on our own. And, I'm not going to go into the we didn't win type thing either. But just using kind of conventional historical wisdom, yeah, the last major war that the United States has been involved in that it won was World War II. Didn't win Korea. Didn't win Vietnam.
Wasn't Korea a draw?
Why? Because
I don't know. They always. I'm just thinking of that movie Heartbreak Ridge. It was like,
oh, 1-1.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, okay, yeah. Technically, it was a draw, but it was a loss.
yeah.
Vietnam was a loss. Our most recent.
Vietnam was a loss because of the freaking leadership here.
Well, same thing with all the other ones. Even the global war on. I don't want to use war on terror because that's like saying the war on fear.
But that's what everybody called it, though, right?
Yeah, it's more.
If you say global war on terror, people know what you're talking about.
It's more of a global war on terrorism, and we lost that anyway. And I'm not going to go into how you can't win a war in Afghanistan.
A land war in Asia?
Well, a land war in Asia is pretty dumb too, but that's more of a supply line issue in my book. But, if you wanted to win a war in Afghanistan, you really had to go over there, occupy it, and stay there for a couple of 100 years.
Wow.
You can't change a society by installing a different power base that's in line with your interests. I mean, that's kind of what happened with Iran.
Yeah, oh, yeah, when they supported the Ayatollah.
Well, if you really go back, it started in the 50s, I guess, with that one prime minister, Mossadegh, or...
He was a democratically elected guy, right?
Yeah, but you know the story, right?
No.
Okay, so he was elected by the populace, democratic elected guy.
Right.
And he was wanting to change the oil deal with BP.
Oh, yeah.
And then BP got in and was complaining to the Brits. And so the Brits decided to complain to Truman. And Truman was just like, just get away from me. I don't care.
Yeah.
And when the Eisenhower administration came in, because it was kind of at the end of Truman, beginning of Eisenhower.
Right.
And then the Eisenhower administration was like, communism, well, we got to stop that. And then that's when the CIA coup essentially happened.
Yeah, see.
And before that, the Iranians loved us.
Yeah, see, just... Again, bad leadership.
That's a real loaded term, though.
Leadership?
Bad leadership?
You mean because what? Because those people aren't leaders?
Well, that's part of it, but there's this expectation from all of us that someone else is going to put stuff on the line and live a life of character and honesty, moral goodness, whatever you want to call it, right? And I don't think any of us would be different.
Yeah. There is an expectation. Yeah, it's true, but that is kind of the expectation, right? Because people are like, well, they've got... That person has all the benefits, right, of the office or whatever, so they owe something to me. I mean, I think that's the attitude.
Okay, well, and going on a discussion of that attitude. So?
You mean so it's kind of odd that people would have that attitude?
Look, if we're going to live in a community, in a society, it's all about burden in my mind. You cannot live a life expecting benefits and benefits only. And a lot of the time, that's how we live our lives. We live our lives like 8-year-old children. You know, people who want to be the king because they see the king, or people who want to be... I remember when I was 8, I couldn't wait to be an adult. Be able to do whatever I want, don't have to go to sleep when I want, go do what I want, whatever. And I was like, and then you realize as an adult, the freest time in your life was when you were a child.
That's true.
And this whole idea that you've worked hard and you've done something to deserve whatever good stuff is going on in your life, I'm just like, no. I don't, you know, I say this from personal experience. I don't think anybody deserves anything that's gone good in their lives.
Well, that just kind of runs contrary to a lot of stuff.
I believe that
we're instilled, taught, right? That's instilled in us.
Yeah, but take a look at who's giving that message. Should you work hard? Yes, you should work hard. Does that mean you're going to get something from it? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, that's like the whole idea of, well, your idea of like, oh, you know, what's the point? Well, you know, you can take that to its most extreme end. Every one of us is going to die. What's the point of whatever? Because you're going to die.
Yeah.
And my response is, you just don't know when you're going to die. If you're living in a society, what's the point of following rules, of being good to one another, of all this stuff? Well, it's because you're in a group.
See, I feel like maybe there was a time where more people were on board with the fact that there was the burdens, the responsibilities, or whatever. But I feel like now, I think it's changed a little bit. I think people expect all the benefits with no burden.
Well, that expectation happens because the reason why there were so many people, I believe, that were on board with being hardworking or not, everybody wants to flout the rules, I suppose, but you can't have everyone doing it. You can't even have a majority of the people doing that. If you have the majority of the people trying to sit there and because what's the big example? Like all the televangelists that talk about how you need to, espouse the good life, be moral, not cheat on your wife, and all that, and then you find out that all these televangelists or these pastors are just seem like morally bankrupt people cheating on their wives and all that junk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's only room for a small number of people to be able to do that stuff and still have everything run. And I don't know what that number is. You know, like the 80, what was it like?
Oh, I mean, what we talked about before?
I don't know if I'm like skipping stuff like 80-20 rule, right?
It might even be 90-10.
But a small number of people are responsible for all the work, all the sacrifice, all that stuff.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the 20 being the group that's sucking off that's living off everybody else.
Well, there is a number. There is a group that.
But you're talking about something different. You're talking about a smaller percentage of hard workers, the working folks.
I suppose. I don't know what I'm trying to get at. I mean, all I know is that there's a lot of unhappiness going on. And it's probably because, at least in the last 60 years or so, and it's getting greater every year, the percentage of people that are kind of espousing an inferior philosophy of life.
Yep.
That's what's causing life to be harder for everybody.
Oh, I don't know why it makes me sad.
Well, because it's a daunting thought. You know, we want justice. If you do something wrong or bad, you're going to get caught, get punished, whatever. You know, you want justice for malfeasance, but you also want justice for proper acts.
Yeah, most of when I get really mad is mostly over really small justice things.
Well,
like the thing I've gone on about before about the shopping carts.
well, yeah, but that's
Pretty
where
stupid example.
But that's where it starts. You know, if one person out of 100 leaves a shopping cart in a parking lot, not a big deal.
Yeah.
But the more people that start doing it, the bigger of a deal it gets.
Yeah, it's fucking awful.
And we like to think that small things will inform big things. Right? I mean, what's that whole dating thing? Don't date somebody. You can tell a lot by, well, for women, they're always saying you can tell a lot about a guy and how he's going to be as a husband or whatever.
When you're dating?
Yeah. How does that person treat his mom?
Right.
Or you know, you can tell a lot about a potential relationship partner by how that person treats wait staff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Wait staff, assistants.
But what if someone's... Yeah. So, you know, we like to think that we can use how someone reacts in small situations or in certain situations, you know, go from the specific to the general.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Where I think that a lot of problems arise is when you try to go from the general to the specific. Which
the
is
opposite direction.
Which is the way I see a lot of stuff going on in the political arena now. And
Also, it's kind of like your micro macro. It's
very
a
much
similar
so.
theme.
Very much so.
It always comes back to the same themes.
Well, those are themes that people have wrestled with for thousands of years. I'm pretty sure they're going to wrestle with them for thousands of years after I've turned into dust.
But what about the solution part?
Well,
because I feel like we never... we always like bring up an issue and then we talk about the issue, but we never, ever... Oh, no, that's not true. We've proposed some answers to things.
Well, I know that a lot of people believe that religion is a good answer to that.
Okay.
And the way that people kind of poo-poo that is by sitting there saying, well, everyone in the upper echelons is corrupt. Is that really the fault of the religion? Is that the fault of the government, of the philosophy?
I don't know.
Well, I do. It's the fault of the people, not the philosophy.
Right.
It's the fault of the people, not the religion.
Yeah, but if people are always going to corrupt shit, then I don't know.
Well, then there's the question that I think we can kind of leave with, because I'm kind of curious as to seeing how badly Olympic coverage is.
It's not even worth watching.
Well, I know,
but I guess we could put it on.
And now I've forgotten the question.
That's really helpful.
Well, it wasn't really big in the brain at this point. I mean,
come on, what's the question?
Even if you can't succeed, what's more important, the goal or the journey? That's the question.
Well, I already know the answer.
Well, then you got one up on me, because I don't.